that no more. We could put that, leave that like that. That's there. Where are my notes? There are my notes. This can go over here. Boop. I think that shouldn't make you disappear. I don't think so. Looks like you're still there. Okay. All right. Opener. Okay. All right. We'll let the roll on happen for a little bit. How's your week been?
It's a deadline week for me, so I've been weirdly busy at work.
Oh.
And my older son has a dentist appointment tomorrow, which
Sounds
is kind of
exciting.
sad for a 4-year-old. No, he's had these like fillings that keep falling out. So
Yeah.
that's been a lot of like stress for my wife because she hates taking the kids to the dentist. So she's been dreading that like all week.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's all on baby teeth, isn't it? Still.
It is, yeah, and they're doing the work for free. It's just that he keeps having to be like sedated.
Yeah.
And
That's got to be annoying.
he doesn't like it.
Why do I feel funny, and why are you laughing at me?
Yeah, pretty much. God, have you seen that video with that kid in the backseat of the car?
That one from years ago.
Yeah, this would be like his 5th one, and it's for sure like
it's like that every single time.
Yep.
That's what you want, though. You need a little bit of humor as a parent, I imagine.
Oh, I think you need a metric fuck ton of humor as a parent. One of my favorite lines from one of the parents that like I worked for him at a bar. This is, over a decade ago now.
Yeah.
And he had kids that were older. And he said that he's like, I don't care if you get in trouble at school. Like if you get in trouble at school, so long as it's funny, you won't be in trouble at home. If you get in trouble at home, then like you're in trouble at home, and that's serious.
That's good.
It's a pretty solid parenting approach.
I'll have to remember that one. Oh, biggest thing that like my stepdad had ever said was what was it? It was something along the lines of like, if you ever get in a fight, don't lose. Like, it was always like, don't throw the first punch and don't lose.
Yeah.
I will say though, I have held up to that. I've never lost a fight. And I never threw the first punch. So yeah,
there you go.
There we go. I can listen.
I did what you said, Dad. I won every fight I've been in. Trail of bodies in my wake.
Oh man, 2 hits me hitting the ground.
Yep, that's right.
I can't read a parent. I tried reading that and I was like, man, it's not even worded wrong or weird. It's just I just couldn't read it. Like, man. All right, I guess we can get started. Are you ready to get started? I don't know. I'm having fun with the pre-ramble. I always do. The pre-ramble is like my favorite part because
it's a good warm-up.
It's just chill.
It's off the record ish. So long as somebody else isn't recording.
I mean, it goes on the YouTube. It goes on the YouTube and like the Twitch.
Okay. Nice.
So it is somewhere, but you have to watch like that in the live video, or go find it on YouTube to get like all of this extra bullshit we talk about. So
glorious.
To be honest, though, like a lot of people actually go back and like watch the VOD on Twid. I could not talk tonight either. Oh my god, it's been a long day. It's been a long.
It's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good show. I need this sour on my lips.
Yep.
So good.
Yep. All right, I need to keep that away from me, or I'm gonna play with it the entire time.
You got the little fidget toy of some kind?
No, it's my pocket knife. It's also a bottle opener.
So it's a fidget toy.
Yeah, it's a fidget toy.
Good times.
There's so many fidget toys. I got a click pen. I got a headphones case.
I'm
and
the
I got a
worst.
pocket knife.
I'm the worst with pins. If I have a pin in my hand, I will literally sit there and click it the entire time. I'll just be doing that the entire time. And I swear, people just stare at me like it's like, what are you? How dare you? What are you doing? And then, it's real funny.
Could you stop? Could you stop clicking that, please? Oh, sorry.
Well, what's the best part is like when I'm grading people, like I'm sitting there with a pin in my hand, so of course I'm clicking it the entire time. And it's literally a test that decides their future career. Like every test we do could be like their last chance at being EUD. Like,
oh, for sure, right?
So it's literally like I'm sitting there and I'm grading them, and they just hear this, like me just clicking the pin over and over and over again. Like I gotta imagine
ripping their hair out.
I gotta imagine it's nerve wracking. Like,
yeah, gotta be.
Never thought about that until just now. See, this is why I love the pre-ramble. It gets us in the mood of talking.
Yep. Who's AC Casey? AC
I know,
Casey, who are you?
I am curious. Who is AC Casey?
Are you on Discords? Are you on? You play Crisis Protocol? Are you just here to troll us?
The way I see it, if they fail in the field, boom.
Oh, is this my brother? Is that who this is?
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be him.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you said makes more sense now.
Absolutely. All right. Did you post the link in the normal places you do?
No, but I will.
Okay. I guess we could do that real quick while we're waiting. He said, told you I'd be on each week. It's always good to have family support.
You are a man of your word. All right. Where do we post this thing? Post it. All right. I'm going to...
Samuel Spamuel.
From last year.
From last year?
No. Last week.
Oh, you said last year.
Man, this is going to be a good show. We're primed.
We're not even drunk or buzzed. I think we both just had really long days.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. All right, southwest, southeast. See, here I go again.
Oh man.
Oh hey.
Announcements. Oh yeah, we have an announcements channel now. I forget about that. I forget we have that.
All right.
I still haven't actually put my stuff away from Nova. Like, it's still sitting over here in the corner. Like that subway board, the Quinjet.
Man,
the ultimate encounter boxes, they're all just over here in the corner. So I need to clean my office. It's a train wreck right now.
I reorganized my paints.
Yeah.
Like after I got back from Nova to make them a little bit more cohesive because they were just kind of like thrown up there on my racks.
Yeah.
And now they're more like they were by like monument releases basically. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So now they're by color ish.
Yeah. Gotta go by values, not colors. God.
Well, I mean, it's all a part of it. It's all a part of it.
I mean that thing from Rory earlier. He's like, it's all about the values. Values, not colors. That's the new painting slogan. Values, not colors.
Values, not colors.
You could TM that. TM. Hey, Scruff McGruff, how's it going?
I'm even trying to. I'm airbrushing my my Crimson Dynamo right now. He's got his second coat of red on now, and even with that, I'm trying to keep my my highlight because I didn't do anything zenithal. It's just red. But now I'm going like from dark red to light red as I just kind of slowly peel it back into the corner. I'm hoping it turns out all right.
I'm probably gonna start painting Blade here soon. I think we're gonna be painting the busts tomorrow because we got super sidetracked with that terrain piece.
Oh, for sure.
And I honestly because you saw the picture of it, right?
I saw the.
It's not done yet. Still, it's in the same.
It's like a room, right? Like a room with a tree growing out of it.
Yeah. It's like a house with a tree growing out of it. But it's only a single room like you were talking about. Yeah, same thing. But like, because we spent like a whole day, I swear, watching YouTube videos on making terrain, and like that tree is literally just like a toilet paper roll and aluminum foil and hot glue. That's all it is.
Yes.
And it
There's
looks
a
like
dude that makes some amazing terrain for Legion. That's like the same kind of like stuff, and he like even gives it that Star Wars feel to it. I'm always impressed.
Like it's crazy what you can do with like trash. Like
Yeah.
like it's literally like a toilet paper roll, hot glue, and aluminum foil. Like it is insane. Like I've never built terrain before, and Victoria's been like hitting it hard with that house. And now she's like started because it was gonna be like a fully like closed in house and not be open up at all. And then like I went to bed last night. I passed out reading a book, and she comes in at like 1:00 in the morning. She's like, "I made furniture for the house."
Awesome.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Then I passed back out, and then I woke up this morning and I went down there and I saw it all. It looks pretty good. So it's really come together. I can't wait for it to get. We need to do the roof. We need to get the roof ready and done. But now with furniture in it, I got to figure out how to make the roof easily removable and actually decent. So that's gonna be fun. But it looks really cool. Yeah, we're really excited, and she's really excited to like make more terrain and all that. She says in the chat she added real crystals instead. She had a one of those like break a geode type of thing, and had some crystals in there. So it's not like she added those to that. Hot glue is terrain creator's best friend. Absolutely. It's crazy what you can do. Like all that bark is because of hot glue, and it looks like a real freaking tree. Like it's insane. All right, I've probably rambled enough. I think we could probably get started with this.
All right, let's do it.
All right, cereal boxes, save them. We don't eat cereal that much, so like it becomes an issue. We were like, where do we have cardboard? I use pull foam when I make space for new minis. I use that foam for walls and such. I mean, it seems like everybody's going to A cases. Like A cases are like probably stocks up right now, like actual literal stocks, because I keep seeing people say, "I got my A case," and I'm like, man, I need to get one of those. But
they're nice.
They are.
I do not regret mine in any way. It's fantastic.
If
If anything, it's like a little bit too large.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because it's not even that big. Like it's smaller than the plug foam, but you can fit so much in it.
Yep.
All right, let me get this ready. Here's that,
right.
And we'll get the show on the road. Okay. Boop. And hit record here. Do 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 do.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Maximum effort. In this war, there's no surrender. He's out of line, but he's right. Who the hell is Bucky?
You don't like a fair fight.
I think you're wrong. Which part? All of it.
Think you're the only superhero in the world?
Touché.
Oh, Sam's not here. I don't know what happened to him. He disappeared. Oh man, what did I do? I broke it again. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I assure you, the rumors of my demise are a bunch exaggerated.
One or the other, you know. All right. Oh, I made you disappear.
Nope,
again.
I'm gone again. Okay. Where am I?
I have to do this.
I was born in the darkness.
I was born with it. Dismiss. I don't want that. All right. Anyways, again, as always, what would the show be without me screwing up the intro and getting completely sidetracked? Like I'm supposed to be saying "Welcome to the show," and I'm over here trying to find Sam in the virtual spaces. All right. Anyways, welcome again to this week of Rogue Agents. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to get over that and actually do like a proper good intro. I don't think I've done one yet for the show. I think it's just a part of the show now that I have to mess up the intro every single time.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful chaos. You know,
if you ever nail it, like actually just completely nail it, we should probably just like put it right after the intro or something. Even better.
Well, I mean, like, so like we do it, and then like the only people that ever know it happened is the people that were here for when it happened, like the live people. Like that's the way to do it, and then we could like save it for the outtakes or something like that. I don't know. I don't do outtakes because I don't edit. Like,
boom.
Oh, do you have timestamps?
Oh yeah, we're getting started.
Okay,
I
cool,
mean,
cool.
00 to whenever is usually the first timestamp, right?
I mean,
so
true. Usually like 3 to 4 minutes in of me just rambling and joining in on the fun. This is like the Rogue Agents podcast. It's like the R for Rogue actually stands for ramble, or rambling. Let's say rambling. And the A, what's the A stand for? The first thing that comes to mind is asshole. So we're not we're not that mean. Rambling.
Tangents.
Tangents.
It's a soft
It's a
T,
soft
big
T.
A.
But this is why people come here, right? They come to hear you laugh. Like,
Let's hope that they come for the laugh and the tangents and the rambles.
actually,
Otherwise,
I got a message after last week's episode. Actually, someone just said, "I love Sam's laugh," and I was dying just at how much he was laughing. It made me laugh every single time.
yes.
And he said that
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, let's get on with the show. I'm sorry, everybody, but I'm not sorry at the same time because this is just, I guess, our brand now.
That's right. It's been a long day, a long week, and a long life.
Yeah, it's been a real long day. I had a grade people doing PT tests this morning. That was fun. And then I had to go and
enthralling.
I had to go and grade somebody's test to see if they can continue on to school, and they passed. And then I had to go into teaching my class. So it's been a very, very long day. But it was a good day. Good day overall. I've been having really good days lately, so I'm happy about that.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you ask for?
Exactly. Happy days. Happy days. All right, let's get into this. This is like the third pre-ramble that we've had, and it's all my fault every single time, I swear. But let's jump into it. First of all, as always, thanks to the patrons for being amazing on what they do and supporting the show. And excuse me, I went down the wrong pipe. All right. Anyways, thanks to the patrons for doing what they do and supporting the show and being there for us. Yeah. Speaking of which, the next giveaway should be in October when we do the patron rewards. That'll again be off air. We might post like a video and then put it in like Patreon itself and actually use that format. Like, maybe we could do that. Yeah, let's do that. You know, this is like the best thing we do. We always decide stuff on the fly as we're recording, and it always turns out great. So let's
perfection. Why mess with it?
Exactly. So yeah, next month we'll do the patron rewards. We'll record it and then post it up on Patreon instead of taking up probably 20 minutes of the episode of me trying to figure out how to roll dice.
I mean, it is a good time, but we should probably still do it live. We'll just not, make it part of the episode.
Let's make it private or something.
There we go.
Make it for just the patrons. It's just for them anyways. If you are interested in being a patron, go ahead and find our Discord. Ask around. It's in the link to the Patreon is in the show notes. You can find that there as well. Cool. I kind of have been I don't really know how to describe it. I kind of wrote in the show notes it's kind of a weird time to play at the moment. I'm really interested in playing Midnight Suns, but I'm also Malekith is really good at Midnight Suns, but I'm just so burnt out of Malekith. I spent so long painting this guy, but I've played so many games with him that I'm just I can't. I don't want to play him. And then now I'm people are hey, can you play Malekith into me? And I'm I don't want to.
I will, but you're not going to get my A game, okay?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very tired of playing Malekith.
That's funny. See, as someone who's barely played as Malekith, I'm actually finally getting excited to put him on the table again.
I mean, that's what happens. If you want to talk about last week we were talking about big con energy and preparation, it's if you're trying to win and then get stomped out by Sam, it's very much super interesting on how easy the burnout can be with that list. And that's something that's kind of really neat and interesting when it comes to MCP. Is there's so many options in there. You get burnt out on one thing, go play something different. I'm jumping to Suns now, and I've been theory crafting that a whole bunch. And I kind of sit back on playing games. I haven't played a whole lot in the past week. I go from playing literally one game a day to playing nothing for a week and a half now. I don't think I've played a game. No, I played one game since Nova.
Wow. Yeah, maybe that's my secret is that I just kind of have this even keel. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't tend to like burst
You don't-
prep like you were doing. It's just like, all right, I got my Tuesday, I got my Thursday, I got maybe a league game or a pickup game or a practice game,
Yeah.
and then I got like maybe like 2 or 3 others that just kind of hopefully happen throughout the week. And like, I'm happy, I'm good.
Yeah. I think
Points at the
maybe
end.
I should probably just do that. It'd probably make the wife happier too if I wasn't playing that much. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's kind of just a weird time to play the game. I really would like a new Crisis.
Yeah, I'd like some new crises.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to see some old crises come back, but I don't know. Maybe it's time to play extended. I
mean, I honestly like. I might actually play extended just so I could play Panic Grips. I miss Panic Grips. Like, I wish we could have Panic Grips in the game, but not be egregious about it. Oh, be egregious about it. So it's like, I don't know. He beat me bad Labor Day. Not nice, bro. You try the game, stomp. That's what Malekith does.
No, it wasn't even Malekith. It was an all according to plan.
Oh, that's even ruder.
Yeah. Love you, bro.
All right. But yeah, I don't know.
I think on this point, it's always weird when there's like really big looming releases in a meta that's maybe not the most fun meta we've ever had, right? So like Malekith is as divisive as ever, right? I feel like people are maybe starting to understand some counterplay into him, but at the same time, there's still a lot of tech that you got to be bringing if you want to take those steps. And like, there's sentinels like right around the corner that I know people have been waiting for. Size 5 isn't a great place to be with ferocity running around.
Yes,
but
KK, hope you have Indom in your list.
Yeah, I think you have to. And then with Hydra being like this, like kind of like monthly release schedule, right? So you got like the first half of it, and then you get the rest of it next month. Yeah, like that's pretty crazy. And then we don't even know what November holds yet. So it is an interesting time to play right now.
It is. I'm kind of like, I'm still working on like the Midnight Suns list, but I'm honestly kind of waiting for Skull to come out because I'm looking at Midnight Suns with Hydra.
Yeah,
I'm calling it the Sons of Hydra. So I like it. It's been super fun to toy around with, but I kind of need Skull to come out to actually play it. So,
I mean, I've got like 2 events before the next releases come out. So like my I guess my my week of casual's done.
Your week of casual, now you're going back to sweaty try hard.
Yeah, we're straight back into it.
You go from gray shirts to blue shirts.
Right.
You know what Sam's playing when he walks in the game store with his dark blue shirt on.
Yep, pretty much. So I mean, usually you know what I'm playing based off of what I'm wearing. And I got this. Let's see. There's that the rich mid thing, the Euro versus America Ghost Ryder Cup or whatever it is.
Yeah,
where I get to play Asgard. So that'll be fun. And then the week after that's like an actual in-person event that I'm gonna go down to Atlanta for. That should be fun.
Guess what I'm playing for that Ghost Ryder.
You're playing Mal, aren't you?
I'm playing Mal. Oh
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about playing Asgard. Like it's fine. Like I don't mind. Probably nowhere near like how you feel about Malekith, but it's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. I said I would do that. That was like a month ago in gaming time. That's like 3.5 years. So like I'm like completely moved on from that now. But it'll be fun. I like.
Yeah, Asgard. Now I'm kind of like I want to play Suns. Like can I play Suns? I think somebody else.
Is anybody playing Suns?
I don't know actually.
You should just ask.
Nobody cares. Ask. I'll play Suns with Malekith. How about that?
We're Americans, so like we're just gonna like. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know what's gonna happen either. I'm curious. Like I don't get the rules still, to be completely honest.
I'm literally gonna show up to that match and just be like, just tell me what I have to do, guys, because I don't know.
I mean, like, I think it's cool. It's a great idea.
If
anybody hasn't heard, Rich from Rich Mid Games YouTube channel, shout out for him. He's putting together a Ghost Ryder Cup, is what they're calling it. It's kind of it's Ryder as an RY, so it's literally like the golfing thing. Right?
Golfing or boating?
I thought it was golfing. I thought it was golfing.
I don't know. Shows
I
you
don't
how
know either.
in touch I am.
I don't play golf, and I don't boat either. So
Same team.
my brother though, he boats. He actually goes on sailboats every now and then. He sends pictures. Are you writing the timestamp? Tangent about boats. But yeah, anyways, he'll send pictures of him on like a sailboat and stuff like that. So I could ask him, be like, what's the Ryder Cup? But anyways, Rich Mid is putting this on for the Ghost Ryder Cup, and it's gonna be kind of interesting. It's gonna be, I don't really understand it, so I'm not even gonna try and say what's what. The people who are running it though understand it, and that's all that matters. I'm just gonna show up and I'm gonna play the games that I need to play. So there's that. Let's get actually into the episode again.
All right.
Redskull's panel to play came out. He seems super sick. Nothing's different on the back of his card except for he's 6 health. So awesome. I really love Redskull, and I kind of stick by my mindset that Redskull's kind of scary for the game more so than Malekith because he's doing more for scenario than Malekith is.
I hear that scenario play is a good way to win.
I think scenario play is a good way to win because that's like the way to win the game. I don't know. Hot take. I'm sorry, Omnis, but hot take alert. It's like a spoiler alert. We gotta like, if you want to like not hear this hot take, just skip forward about 25 seconds or something. But I honestly think Redskull with his grunts is going to be more meta warping and more like meta influencing than Malekith. It's a free person to interact on secures, where typically there's more secure points than anything. So like that can be huge for certain teams. So, and Skull's just a beater. Like he is a straight beater. Like he's pretty punchy, and he puts out a lot of damage. He ain't Corvus level and he ain't Malekith level of damage, but for a 5 threat, that adds that level of scenario play, and he beats face. Like it's pretty solid if you ask me. But yeah, that came out. Sentinels are pretty cool. I like them. I like Sentinel Prime the most. But 5.
I think Prime's going to get splash places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Redskull is. I think that like stagger the board thing is going to be really interesting, and I think that his grunt's been able to secure is super scary. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I guess we could talk about this for a second. Like, I think the grunt secured is huge. They also can contest researcher because they can. There's something that says they can't. Like, because it all is a model contesting, so they can contest researcher as well. But like Redskull with his grunts on sword is kind of scary because now I can run like a 4-wide team with a bunch of like kill factor that is basically running a 5-wide team. Like that's kind of intense.
They can't interact though, right? They don't get to interact with like
secures.
They can do flip secures too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. F Redskull. Hate Nazis.
Yeah, so they can do. There's nothing that says they can't do flip secures. It says they interact with a secure for free. So that means that they can also hit a riot to heal somebody for free. It's a free 1 heal, which is kind of dope. Like riots goes on that team because you can heal for free. They could interact with an intrusions and teleport across the side of the board. I don't know why you would have them do that, but you can.
Range 4.
Yeah, they got a huge gun on them, and then they can get reroll any.
What is the world coming to?
They get an extra health. I'm telling you, like I legit think that Redskull is gonna be more meta warping than Malekith was.
Oh, they're slow movers though. It's okay. They're only a slow mover.
They are slow movers, but it's like Redskull activates, they pop in, then they're staggered, and you can take stagger then and move. They're really good.
I'll tell you, looking at Redskull, I've never wanted to find characters that have mystic and energy attacks printed on their card more.
Hey, like you know who does?
Not Fury, but Sinister and Magic.
And Malekith. Like Malekith just eats Redskull. It's insane. Like, oh, you want to be energy against me? That's cool.
Great.
Mystic coming your way.
Smash
I like
beam.
I don't know.
Let's take the troopers out too.
I like the armor though. I think the armor aspect of him is actually super cool.
It is neat.
because it's gonna create like a basically a thought point for like the player to be like, okay, am I running with the armor on Mystic or Energy?
They're still just dice, though. You know, like I can't count the number of times that Angela,
is.
and you can't even modify your dice into her. Like she just, what if I just rolled nothing on my 4 dice
Yeah.
or 1? Like, oh well, cool.
I guess I die.
Yep. Guess I'm out. Peace.
All right. But yeah, I like moving on. I think Sentinels are pretty cool. Like you said, I think Primes get splashed everywhere. The Sentinels, a lot of people are kind of down on them because they kind of just die on their flip side because they take a damage for each critical in their attack. But I don't know. Like, they're still fun. Like, they're pretty cool. And I think the biggest thing about them is they have a huge health pool with high defense stats. Like 3-4-4 with what, 8-7, I think? Sorry, 8-7 or 8-6. I don't remember now.
It's big. I don't know. Like, I guess they're gonna burn down, but like, I don't know. Dice in this game are so weird, right? So like, if you need them to survive, they won't. And if you like
don't care.
need them to like just like dish out some damage, they'll survive. And be fine. I don't know. I think late game you're probably just gonna be like taking a shot and running away, or you're just gonna go full self-destruct with them and like use the spender. They're gonna be flush with power on their backside. Might as well just use the spender then.
Yeah. I think they're super cool. I think they're gonna be fun. A lot of people like they're definitely like a fan service, and like everybody loves the Sentinels and are super excited about them. I'm excited about them. They're gonna be fun to paint, get in the game, play with. They're huge. Go AKs, I guess.
They're gonna be neat. I'm gonna play mutants again once they come out. Just to, like,
just because everybody else will be playing the Sentinels.
Right? Be like, all right, Sentinels and Hydra and Malekith people. Like, let's play some X-Men again. That'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, moving on to hot takes, cold drinks. I am drinking the best. Victory, Sour Monkey. It was funny is ever since that first episode we did where I had that the first time, I've had like multiple messages of people just sending me cans and bottles of like the Sour Monkey. Like, I can't believe I've never heard of this before. This is amazing. This is such a good drink. Or somebody, I forgot who it was, sent me a picture of like basically a cooler just full of them. And like, this is my go-to drink. I get 24 packs of it. Like, holy 19 ounces, Batman. Yeah, because that's the only way to get it. Like, it's like here they sell it in single 19-ounce cans, or you can get a 6-pack. So I can get either a 19-ounce can for $3, or I get a 6-pack for $14. So I'm gonna buy the 19-ounce cans. Like,
yeah. That's interesting math.
Yeah, it doesn't make up sense at all. Like, you can literally buy 6 19 ounces for cheaper than a 6-pack. And
there was a liquor store by one of the places where I used to live that had a similar thing with Stella. And like, if you bought the tall boys, you get 4 tall boys for like $6, or you could go buy the 12-pack for like 10. And it was like, that's wow. I know what I'm buying.
Scruff says I got track on the bear. They have the berry one, but you can only get it in the 6-pack. I'm not about to pay $15 for a 6-pack of 12 ounces when I can get a 19 ounce for $3. Like, but I'm gonna find it. I do need to try I haven't tried the berry version yet. I really need to try it.
It's good. I like the sour one better personally. Yeah. The berry one's fine.
I like the ting on the lips. Like, it's just so good.
It's good stuff.
Majestic. All right, what you got? You said it was a classic.
Oh yeah, so this is a classic for me. This is a Spaten Optimator. This is some stuff I haven't drank in a while. This is a Doppelbock. It's an import beer, and it's dark.
Ooh.
And it's not as strong as yours, but it gets the job done. And it's a fun one.
I think the last time I had a Doppelbock was a bacon infused beer. It was a Doppelbock infused with bacon, and it's a German beer. I was in Pennsylvania, and this place we went to is a bar in like downtown. So you've seen Always Sunny, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually a bar owned by Mac.
Okay.
And I forget what it's called now. But it's not like Patty's Pub, because Patty's Pub doesn't actually exist. That's a set. And people always go to Philadelphia, always trying to find Patty's Pub because it doesn't exist. But Mac does own a bar with, God, I can't remember the other guy's name. Not Charlie. What's the other guy's name?
The other guy.
Yeah, the other guy. Anyways, he owns like they own the bar there. They got like pictures and like of like Always Sunny all over the place and memorabilia
Nice.
and all that stuff. And they had this because we went to Philly and we're like, I want to find this bar. Like we have to find it. I'm not gonna leave until I find this bar. And they had this one there. It was a bacon doppelbock, and it actually tasted like freaking bacon. Like it was insane. A beer that
How do you
tastes
feel
like
about bacon flavored beer?
It was good. Like it was surprisingly good. Like it literally tasted like, because it's a doppelbock, so it's super dark, right?
Yeah. Right.
So it basically tasted like bacon on burnt toast, but good. Like I don't know how else to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get behind bacon on not
Burnt
quite
toast.
burnt toast.
But like that's the thing about it, though. Like, is it like it had that hint of like burnt toast, but it was like, but it was good. Like you wanted to drink it and you wanted to drink more. But like the biggest thing is like it was like super strong, like bacon beer. Like the bacon like just came through so strong. I can't remember for the life of me what it was called, but
I hope they called it the Baconator.
no, it wasn't that. It was God, I can't remember. I have to message the guy who I went there with, because he was actually stationed in Germany for a while, and he saw it. He's like, "Oh, you have to try this. Like they have this in Germany, and I remember this, and you have to try it." And so I'll have to message him and see if he remembers what it's called. Anyways, sorry, I'm all over the place tonight, and I have show notes.
Yeah, we did it. What's next? Challenge of the week?
Challenge of the week. This one's all you because I don't know. I'm kind of like out on like looking at Shield rosters, and I was like looking at them, and I was like, I don't know, man. They all look good to me. Nothing's intriguing, so this one's all you.
Challenge of the week. I'm gonna give it to it's just Rory. I like his selection of crises. He's got the F's and the D, and particularly the secures is what stood out to me. It's the same thing that I've settled on for the Shield rosters I've been running, which is Infinity Formula and Mutant Madman and Scoundrels. And he's got double Hulks in there, so that's why he wins. I was really hoping to see somebody go for the full Mimi combo that I've been running, which is bringing your Human Torch and a new age and Killmonger and the Initiative and Usurp the Throne and just dropping some massive Killmonger attacks into stuff. But nobody brought the whole package, so double Hulks wins.
All right. Got tracked in. Oh, I thought the thing popped up. I was like, new message? No. All right. So let's get into the topic of the week. So this week we're gonna be talking a little bit about crises again. Sorry.
Oh, we're back to it.
We're back to it. Back to crises.
Learning stuff.
So yeah, we're gonna have some. We're a good time, I promise. Anyways, more crisis talk. So we kind of want to like just like hit on some basic key points that aren't really covered in the core crisis discussion, and some that are. Yeah. And just kind of like wrap up some things. Then eventually, further down the road, we'll go into like more deep dives of the other crises. But for now, we're gonna leave it with this, and then we'll stop talking about crises for at least a while. So
at least 2 weeks.
At least 2 weeks. No promises. We are loose cannons.
Unless we find out about a new crisis or something changing with crises, like everyone's hoping for.
Everyone's hoping for it. All right. Which one of these do you want to hit on first? Do you want to? I guess we could talk about the different. Because yeah, let's go with that one.
Yeah, like
a first talking point.
What do you want to bring? What if it's just like, what do you want to bring? Right. So like we talked about the core crises, and the core crises was all like about like trying to figure out what your roster is good at. So if you bring the core crisis, like we talked about for like a month and a half, then you've got a good spread of different things that you're going to find out what your roster is good at if you just bring those 6 crises, and then you got to try and build around that, right? So if you like the pay to flips, or if you like the scroll, or if you needed or wanted something a little bit faster or a little bit more spread out. And so I think the first question we've got on the list here is, do I want to bring all single extracts? Or maybe when do you want to bring all single extracts. Single extracts are. I have a love-hate relationship with single extracts. We'll just leave
Well,
it
I mean,
there.
that's kind of like what like brought up like the whole thought is like, do you actually want to bring all single extracts? I think hot take alert.
Oh man, we're hot taking all over the place.
I know, right? Almas is gonna hate this episode. He's gonna be like, God, you guys don't ever do hot takes, then you have an episode full of them. Okay, so hot take alert. If you don't want to hear it, you're gonna hear it anyways. I think every single list should include at least one single extract, whichever one you're best at. Like one that suits your team's threat value, whether the 14, 17, or 20. Reason being is sometimes like you kind of just like want it, even if you're not that great at it, because it like limits the play. More so than like the 5s or the 3 even, because like say I have an issue with like X-Men in my meta. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put Kree in my meta or in my list, because that way if I can get that against X-Men, then they're not gonna be able to grab and run because they can't move twice.
What if they don't get it?
Or if they don't
like what? I mean, there's that, but like, what if you don't get that into X-Men? I don't know. So I feel like that statement. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here.
Okay.
I think that statement is really more about the state of extracts in the game than it is about anything.
I guess that's actually very true. Like, I think that's actually probably more in line of actuality and reality than me trying to make it sound smarter than it is.
I mean, it's interesting because I think that a lot of rosters do wind up running at least one single extract, and I think that unless you're running Shield or Fury or even ninjas, I think maybe you're going to give a harder look at the Senator or the Kree Corps than you are to the Skrull.
I agree with that. I think so. I think the biggest thing is like a lot of times people's third crisis ends up being like Montesi, and then they start thinking, man, I keep running into X-Men or I keep running into a team that has like a grab and run play. So like, how do I stop that? And you stop it with either going attrition with Senators or going mobility punishing with Kree Corps.
I kind of like Montesi. I've warmed to it recently. It's just so vanilla and like bland.
I think I'm burned.
Of, like, 2 or 3 teams that are really good at it.
I think I am like forever burned on Montesi because of like how many times playing X-Force X-Force is decent at Montesi. Only for the fact that like they want people to be grouped up so that they can hit them, and then Montesi gets more energy attacks, blah 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 blah. But the thing is like X-Force kind of fights kind of clumped a lot of times, and before you know it, like you're taking beams to the face and it hurts a lot. I've just been burned by Montesi so many times that I kind of like stray away from it, even if I'm playing a team that's like decent at Montesi. Like playing Suns, I'm like, I kind of don't want to play Montesi because I just don't like Montesi. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna take the risk with Hammers over Montesi and hope I can play it better.
I waffle between those two myself. I think that Hammers is really scary to bring right now because of Malekith and Daredevil, Shadowlands Daredevil specifically. I think that both of those squads and teams and teams that include them are pretty advantaged on those crises. I think this is maybe a good time to talk about ease to some extent. No, but
I just wanted to say, like, I don't know. I feel like this kind of calls back to the last week's episode, and I was talking about Mystique. I think if you're throwing Mystique in the roster, you should be bringing Hammers. I really do think that, like 100%.
That's fair.
Because either your opponent's not going to grab a hammer, or you're probably going to be pulling in the person who grabbed the hammer into whoever your killer is of your list. And I don't know, there's so many characters in the game nowadays that your roster of 10 probably has one person who's actually really good at killing, and you're probably taking them on hammers. So it's like, it's too easy to slot Mystique and Deception into a list and then take hammers. Like, it's too easy. And then when hammers comes up, Mystique comes out, Deception comes out, and whoever your killer is comes out. And you're like really leveraging that that try to get more hammers than your opponent play, because it's going to be very hard for them to get a hammer and not be able to be subject to deception. Like it's almost impossible unless they're a grunt person. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Hot take number 5.
I don't feel like these are really hot takes for what it's worth.
No.
There's some experience behind these.
So like talking in Omnis's Discord server just has me so used to saying any opinion about the game with like prefacing it with like hot take. Like every opinion about the game is just a hot take now.
That's actually a really interesting one for me because I still contend that I'm not sure if anybody's actually good at this game yet. That for the most part, like even just the people who are, you know, super sweaty tryhards playing more than anybody else, like I'm not sure that they've even cracked the code yet. I think we're still all pretty much like bad at this game.
hot take alert. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna continue this tangent a little bit. I think it's impossible to actually be that much of a sweaty tryhard, right? Because like you look at like Warm Horrors, you look at Malifaux, you look at Guild Ball, you look at all those like highly competitive games, and what made them highly competitive is, and I know Sploosh talks about this a lot, and that's like removing as much variance as you can, and being able to play strictly on strategy, tactics, knowing what your opponent can do, and the dice play little, very, very, very little in the game. That's not MCP. The dice can have such a sway in the game that regardless of your amount of dice you're rolling, like you see Sam all the time, not you Sam, but like Sam Wilson, Captain America, the Falcon. You see him rolling 4 dice all the time and just like KOing a person just with 1 4 dice attack. And he's not the only thing that does it, but like dice
Bucky's another example of that where you're just like nothing. Oh, 6. Okay, 6 and a bleed.
So
what do you do about that one?
It's kind of like the high variance of MCP almost makes it impossible to come to that conclusion about anybody. In my opinion, like variance is so high that anybody could win this game with any list. It really is. Like
if it's your day, it's your day.
Yeah.
I think that you can set yourself up for success and you can bring pieces that do succeed at taking a lot of variance out of the game, right? So like things like a
Malekith list into a Black Order at 14 on Senators.
No, that was a lot of dice. There's a lot of dice in that game.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like if you look at the matchup, like I think that matchup's actually a really good example of this. Is you have Malekith, Mystique, Bullseye, and Black Widow against Maw, Corvus, Proxima. Like on hammers, Space Maw on hammers and scoundrels. Like on paper, that Malekith list is like it's gonna be a fight, of course, but I still think on paper, I think it definitely favors Malekith.
Well, that's we played at 14.
Yeah.
So it was Senator, not hammers, for what that's worth.
Oh, true. Senators and scoundrels.
Hammers, we've got a different game going on. Completely.
Yeah. But I still think regardless, like I think that like on paper, the Malekith is heavily favored in that game. And like I mean like I know we hate to say it, but like dice definitely decided that game.
Yeah. I think Corvus has good dice in that match, but he has to survive.
I do.
He has to survive stuff. He has a really good opportunity to do a lot of damage into Malekith, but he needs either he has to survive a Malekith hit that doesn't throw him too far out of position, or he needs someone else to be able to move into position to mothership him in and have plenty of power to do it.
I completely agree. So like I will say 100% that Corvus is like really good at taking out Malekith. But it shouldn't have been that good.
Shouldn't have been that good.
But that's the whole point I'm trying to get at though, is like dice variance is so high in this game that I could have gone through and played 100 and something games, testing my list, min-maxing it to the T for my personal playstyle, and then still end up taking a loss. So it's like highly competitive MCP is kind of, it really just comes down to is like, is it your lucky day? Like that's really kind of what it is.
I don't know if I've played a miniature wargaming game where you didn't need a little bit of a boost. You got to be lucky and good. You got to be lucky and good on the same day in order to take home an event. If you're at a 2-day event, then you got to be good enough on day 1 and lucky and good on day 2, or you got to just keep it going the whole time. I do think that the more I practice, the luckier I get quote is a factor, but it really doesn't change like actual pure dice variance. I'm not saying like the more you practice, the kinder your dice will be.
Yeah.
But the more you can be prepared to pivot or react from a situation onto a new plan, which is really what I think the skill is in this game.
I agree. The skill is how you adapt to the variance, not how you reduce your variance, but how do you adapt to the variance between your play on the crises or just your plays on the board in general, how you're going to do that. And this comes back to our first episode where we're talking about one of the biggest skills you can learn in this game is being adaptable and always be evaluating that board state. And that will instantly, like being able to understand that concept will instantly make you a better player.
I definitely agree with that. And I think that this actually kind of brings us back to the main topic pretty well as well. Cause
good segue. Good.
Yeah. Right.
Good roundabout. Good roundabout.
Single extracts are an RNG misery in this game, because when that winds up on an inopportune character in an inopportune position of the board during an inopportune activation, like the last one, or, for purpose of debate, even the first activation, just finding it too early can be a huge misstep that
could cost you the game.
may wind up costing you the game.
I hate to go back to it, but it's a very good example of like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like if Black Widow didn't find it there. Right.
If she doesn't find it there, we play a different game. But she found it there because I was pretty loaded up on that side too.
Yeah.
And just so happened that she walked right into it and picked up the senator. And now we have a completely different ballgame. We got a character with a huge target on their head instead of somebody that's kind of hung out to dry, but has no other bearing on the game state, at least for a turn or two. So I think that the single extracts, like people talk about Toad, people talk about Hulk. I think Juggernaut's another one where you're just like, it winds up on one of those guys and you have got to dump a lot of firepower in there and understand you're going to go down on points, and or you've got to figure out how you can pull parity out of the rest of the board. I think that's the danger of bringing in all these single extracts, and just you have to know how to pivot in that when that happens. And sometimes Toad just grabs that thing and he's gone, and that's just that. Sometimes they grab it with somebody super important, but they're able to mission objective or do something else. So mission objective, right? If you're bringing single extracts, mission objective is a great card to bring in your roster.
Absolutely. All right. I think I don't know. I guess you're kind of more of like key on this one, because I know for a while people were trying to bring all single extracts for like Black Order because they want to slow the game down, and that was the thought process, was bringing all single extracts slows the games down. Do you still agree with this? Do you think you want to bring all single extracts with Black Order?
Oof. I mean, I brought two. I brought two and Montesi. So I brought the scroll, I brought Montesi, and I brought the core to Nova. And I feel like I didn't play on my extracts all day. Because whenever I won priority, I picked secures, and my opponents, I think, picked extracts like at least once over the course of that. So if I did, like, it was like just like a random game on the scroll or something. Yeah. I think that they have the same problem. Your opponent's going to have the last activation, and if they're judicious and lucky, they can grab that 2 points, and hopefully they're doing it in a place where you can't just like Thanos them in. I think that Black Order still does largely want a slow game, but I think the more Corvus builds, like what Kenny's been running, are a lot more suited to just playing Crisis Protocol at the average or even up tempo speed. That they can get plenty of work done and play more of a tempo attrition where you're just trying to get a key daze to get the key drop in the key moment. So I guess my straight answer is I don't know. I think that Black Order still wants a slower game, and they've got some good people to find those things. I don't think they want to bring the Senator, so I don't think you want to bring all three. Yeah, because I don't think that you want to play at 14.
Well, that's the
Corvus, but
that's the thing, though, is like, does anybody want to bring all three? I don't think that's the case. I think you never want to bring all the single extracts. I really don't know if there's a list out there that does, just because of the fact that one of those extracts is going to have a negative effect that you really don't want. And sometimes that's senators or even the meta. Like Malekith on senators is really scary. So right now, bringing senators is kind of like a super scary pull.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that Web Warriors have a little bit of game with that.
Yes.
Especially the ones that are stacking themselves with Black Cat and then splashing in Voodoo, right? Because now you've got like 2 different bodies, and if they're bringing Toad too, like you've got a lot of options for basically finding that thing and then putting it somewhere, or taking it off of someone, and just kind of staying away at that point. Web Warriors are still very good. I think that they're undervalued in the meta. They do have some matchups that are very difficult though.
I agree.
So that's.
I don't really know how to answer this. Like, if we were to give like a 100% answer of do I want all single extracts, I would say no. In most cases,
I would say yeah. If you do, then you've got to definitely have like a real Loctite plan for exactly how you're going to handle that at every threat value. And that's something that I always tell newer players is, look at your crises and make sure that you have a team for your crisis at that threat value.
Yeah.
And like, you're not always going to play at that threat value, but at least know what you want to do when you get that opportunity. Know exactly what you want to do and go from there.
Absolutely. Okay. What about pay to flips? Do you think there's like, because like I know for the longest time people are like, I'm gonna bring all pay to flips because I'm gonna combat Kingpin Syndicate. Do you think bringing all pay to flips is actually worth it, or do you think you want a good mix in here? I'm personally of the camp that I like to bring at least one pay to flip, and then it's either another pay to flip based on the affiliation I'm playing, or it's 2 non-pay to flips based on the affiliation I'm playing. Like if I'm playing X-Men, I'm probably bringing 2 pay to flips and 1 non-pay to flip.
I think I think X-Men, I think Avengers, specifically Sam Avengers and Asgard can all get away with running 3 pay to flips and bringing competitive teams on them. Asgard has kind of a unique issue in that their leader is a 5 cost leader, and so he eats up a lot of space, which makes like 17 and 14 a little bit less enjoyable than you might want them to be.
Well, so here's my thought process on why I say 2 out of the 3 is typically, let's say like X-Men, for example, I have Spider Portals and Mutant Madmen, easy locks. Then I'm left with Sword, which is a central a C shape that is opening myself up for being like attacked. Sword is super like just random. If I'm playing competitively, I'm trying to reduce that randomness a little bit. So like bringing Sword competitively is kind of not the best plan, because you could have the best plan on Sword and 1 die roll just seals your fate with it, right? So like I don't want to bring Sword in that mix. So that one's off the table. Okay, next I have Cosmic Portal. That one could. No, that was not pay to flip. That was standby.
Spider Portals and Mutant Madman 18.
Have that. Oh, not Intrusions. What's the other pay to flip?
Deadly Meteors at 17.
Oh, Meteors. So a lot of people say, like, let's say Meteors. Meteors being good with X-Men. There's a lot of people who are in the camp that Meteors is good with X-Men. I personally don't agree with this because it's putting you in a really awkward spot against attrition teams, where a lot of X-Men characters are rather like easy to take out, and they're being on the center line within range that the attrition player could literally just go up there and knock out that character super easily. This is where I come on the mindset of like, I don't think every team wants all 3 pay to flips, where X-Men could play something like Spider Portals, Madmen, and then go on to Riots. Like play that D shape to your advantage, because X-Men are pretty good at Ds.
They are. I think X-Men are one of the few. So I think that Spider Portals is the one that really kind of stands out to me as being the one that's like, do you really want to bring this? Spider Portals is a D shape, and on top of that, if you get a skull, you're getting your opponent gets to place you within 2. It's not tied to like towards or away or anything like that. It's not a push. It's a place, and that is rough for a lot of teams. I think that for Spider Portals, you want to be probably at least 6 wide at that 18,
Yeah.
And if you're playing under 18, I think you still want to be 5 wide. You want to be able to spread that team out, and you need to have enough bodies to just run around the table. I think Spider Portals is incredibly punishing against attrition, especially tall attrition teams. Pushes them way out of position.
Yeah.
And now they're not only having to spend their actions to get onto those secure points to try and flip them, right? Spend a power to try and flip it. They're also risky getting placed out of where they want to be. And your placement on a tall team is incredibly important. Like far more important than on a wide team. Like placement's very important in the game, period. But when you only have 3 models, having to spend a move action, one of your, like 6 actions that round is really tough to recover from. It's effectively a stagger more often than not, or worse. So I think that Spider Portals is one that if you want to try to shore up your attrition game, that's something you want to look at. But I think that there are very few teams that are actually good at it. I think that's one that I think far more people bring, and they're just counting on bites at the apple than they are actually being good for it. Like Storm rolls 4 dice, but that's an extra
skull.
Right, that's just another chance to skull. Same thing for Deadly Meteors. I think that I would rather play Sword in X-Men than Deadly Meteors personally, even though the
I would too.
factor.
I completely agree with that, just because of the fact that Storm is 3 costs, so you can easily run 5 wide with X-Men.
Yep. And there's nothing like sending your 5 health model and watching her just turn into a 4 health model.
You are not wrong.
But Spider Portals, the hop helps you get around that in a lot of ways too. So I think that Spider Portals isn't so bad for X-Men. I like Spider Portals for Asgard, and I think that Avengers is more of a bites at the apple. They got a lot of 3 energy dice in there. They're putting lots of bodies on the table.
Yeah.
So
with the statement of, do you think there's a team out there that wants all pay to flip? Do you think there is one or no?
I think there's about 3 teams that can run all pay to flips. Of those 3, I think maybe 2 probably can get away with it.
Yeah.
I think that Asgard wants to run an off pick personally.
Yeah. I still personally think that X-Men want to run the off pick. I think playing Sword competitively is just super hard in the aspect that you're really leaving it up to at least one die roll. And that one die roll is going to decide the game. And if you're playing competitively, that's what you got to think about. Casual, play whatever you want. He could play all pay to flips if you want, because you don't want to run into Kingpin. Do your thing,
I agree with your critique about Sword, but the one thing I would say about playing Sword competitively is that if you're going to run Sword and Senator, it gives you a really interesting dilemma for your opponent, where it doesn't matter which one they give you without priority, you have a chance of being able to force that 14. Yes. And being able to force 14 is a competitive power play. Sword is just inherently too fair for my tastes.
Well, the only thing you got to do about that, though, is you have to know that you have the best 14 plan that you can possibly have. Right. I would 100% say about that. What about non-pay to flips? Do you think anybody besides Kingpin wants to play all non-pay to flips? I think Kingpin's probably the one standout here, but I guess now that might even be different for people who want to run Kingpin with Shadowlands Daredevil. You might want to be running 2 non and then 1 pay to flip. So it's kind of that's an option, but I don't know. I feel like there's not really a case in both of these situations where competitively, I think so my theory, my hot take.
Oh no.
My theory here is I think every list should be either 2 pay to flips and 1 non, or 2 non and 1 pay to flip. I think that's kind of the happy spot of what you want for pretty much every single list out there. I think it's very vague, and you can do whatever you want with that, but I think that's kind of very true. I
agree if you don't have a better option to get a shape you want.
That's fair. I can agree with that.
I think that when the game changed, the November changes last year, I think that those once you lost the ability to best 2 out of 3, your crisis selection in a given game, I lost interest in having that 1 throw off, right? So for me, it became a lot more about just all right, what shapes do I want, or what style of game do I want? So with the Asgard roster that I was running,
is it
Like,
really
I
a
was
throw
trying
off?
to do all three.
I don't think it's really a throw off though. Like it's more of like I want the chance of like maximizing. It's min maxing. It really is. Like if you really look at it,
Okay.
it is min maxing because there's gonna be teams that I don't want to play all pay to flips into. Like if I get the mirror with X-Men,
Yeah.
the chances that I get that one non pay to flip into X-Men and I'm more prepared for that than my opponent is, then I'm better off set. Like that kind of thought process. That's why I think this is more of a min maxing ideal in my opinion of two and one and not like all.
Well, it's like, if you buy into the if it's your day theory,
Yeah.
then obviously that's going to come up for you when the moment is
You're not
the
wrong.
right moment.
You're not wrong. I do think that there's like a lot of like loss of agency on this though, but like you said, when the changes happened, there definitely is a loss of agency on it. But I still think throwing it in the roster has that better chances. Like you definitely want to play to your strong suits. Like X-Men, I'm gonna run like 2 pay to flips, but I'm gonna have that one offshoot just for the chance. But it's gonna be an offshoot that I know that I have an amazing game plan on, and that I know I can play very well. I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna throw Infinity Formula in here and hope for the best. It's gonna be something that like I know I can have game on it, and I know I have a good chance of winning. Again,
That's kind of like
mid-max
Sooners NashCon roster where he had Mutant Madman. Like I'm not personally a huge fan of Mutant Madman for CS, even for Daredevil CS, but he had such a good game plan for the B shape that it's like having access to that shape was almost more important than anything else, and he wasn't disadvantaged on it, right? Because he's got enough for physical defense dudes that like he's coming in, and everybody else was a 3. So I mean,
that brings up a actually very interesting point in question is like, is shape more important than the crises stipulations?
I think pay to flips are a little bit different, but largely yes. I mean, there's still a point that's on the board.
Yeah.
And so like the first like turn, 2 turns, and then I'd argue again in the end game, if you get into one of those kind of end game situations, the shape is incredibly important again.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess this kind of toes into the next talking point of should I be jamming all of the same shape? I thought this was kind of interesting because I'm kind of looking at with like the Midnight Suns list of just running all the Ds because I think Midnight Suns have a lot of game on D. And there's a lot of teams that actually don't have game on D and they're kind of like struggle busing. Like the
so
same
you're looking
could
at
be
Extremis, the Black Order Invasion,
Cosmic, and Spider Portals.
Yeah.
Which I find that to be interesting. It's just a thought process I'm kind of playing with at the moment. But it's kind of like is there like other situations of this that there are multiples of Ds? And I started like thinking about it. Like I think D is the only one that has 3 secures.
I think you're right. Everything else is like there's 2 E's, right? Gamma and Demons. Yeah. There's 2 B's.
2 B's.
And
C's, there's a shit ton, but
A's.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, well, the C's are weird, right? Because you got like Terrigen and
Fisk and Meteors and Sword,
right?
Oh, so
C and Intrusions.
So you have 3 C's. You got Intrusions, Sword, and Meteors.
Yeah,
and
so
Fisk
so you can force C and D.
So I think like I don't know. I could see like attrition teams wanting like a mix of D and C, but I could see it being like an argument that like there are certain teams out there that could like easily run all Ds. Like let's talk like Web Warriors. Web Warriors could probably run all Ds very successfully. Go back to like Suns. I think Midnight Suns probably will actually want to run all Ds. Just kind of like what I'm toying with at the moment. I find it interesting because it's really good point values. Like D shapes 16, 17, and 18. Like it's that's very little variation between what your like rosters are going to be, and it's going to be like the change of like one character being upgraded to something different every single time.
I think whenever you're looking at something like should I jam everything with the same shape? Like the question you have to ask yourself is, are you the best at this shape? Are you the best at these crises? Because I think so. The Black Order roster that I brought to Nova, a lot of that was kind of a punt to Web Warriors because they're not really in the meta, right? And so then I lost to the same Web Warriors.
And then you lost to Web Warriors.
I was like, they're not really in the meta. So that was that. I think that Suns in some ways have a little bit better counterplay to that because of all those mystic attacks. Like you can kind of make more stuff happen with them.
I also think it comes down to like the play style of Suns, because I'm very much I'm not gonna go down that tangent. If anyone wants to talk about Suns, just message me. I've gone on enough tangents so far tonight. Anyways, I don't know. I don't think anybody ever wants, like, it's almost impossible except for season Ds to run all the same shape. So I don't know. I'm trying it out with Suns. We'll see what happens.
I found that I like doing like two. I did a lot of rosters that were 2 C's and an E. So like when I was playing Convocation, I would do Deadly Meteors and Intrusions and then Demons Downtown. Yeah, and that felt pretty good. Like that was like just having basically like 2 crises that are going to be a center line and then one that's just going to be a center line. I mean, I call it a center line brawl, but Demons is such a wackadoodle secure because like you like don't really want to stand on it. Like how many incinerates is worth 1 point kind of thing.
I don't know. I think Demons is very much like a play style dependent on like how that game is going to go. Because you can have a person that's like, I'm not going to stand on a demon at all this entire game.
Right.
And you're going to have the person that's going to be like, I have 3 incinerate immune people.
Right. Like, I got this. That's like 2 free points for me a turn, minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting conversation. I'm curious what people think. If anybody has like thoughts on any of these like hit points on like all pay to flip, non pay to flip, like come chat it up. Like, I'm really curious on thoughts on this. This is really more of a general discussion forum.
Yeah.
Episode.
So, I mean, I'm happy to come back to this if anybody pipes up. But what's with ease, right? So, like, now that we're talking about all these E's, like, I feel like ease, the E map is not in the core set. It's a straight down the middle fight, right? There's 3 points between you and your opponent. Like, one right in front of you, one in the middle, and one right in front of your opponent in the middle of the board. They're all in the middle of the board. And I have affectionately referred to this as Yahtzee with an IP skin, because I do feel like a lot of these are just like, you're just going to roll up in the middle and you're going to throw a bunch of dice at each other and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot. I think that Gamma has a lot of interesting control play, but the longer the game has gone on, the less those control play options matter. And the more just throwing a bucket of dice at somebody in the middle of the table feels like the correct answer.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I got asked the other day. It's like, why did I want to run Gamma with Malekith? And it's really just comes down to like me running the more scenario game with Malekith. Yeah. You can like it was very, 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 very common that it would be round 1, I take 2 points. Round 2, I take 2 points. Round 3, I take all 3. And that was extremely common for the Malekith play because I have so much control pieces that I'm just gonna pull you off of the point. And it's more about surviving to last until round 3, where I'm basically closing out the game. Because think about it, 2 plus an extract, so I got 3 points plus maybe 2, so 5, then 5, and then 8. Like that's game. And it's very, very common that would happen between Midnight Phantasmagoria clearing points or Malekith just going on a murder spree, Dark Rain, Smash Turn, all that stuff. It really comes down to like being able to control basically the center of the board as long as you can. I think that's why if you look back to Wakanda Wave days, the reason why Wakanda Wave is so good is because they controlled the center of the board. So
and they controlled the center of the board, and they had decent damage output. Like, that was the thing about like Wakanda, was that like you were gonna take a bunch of damage while you got pushed off the point. Like Shuri, she's just gonna like drop a single point into you and move you away. But Panther was gonna come in and he was gonna rock your world,
and he still does to this day.
He's still an amazing piece. I don't feel like Wakanda Wave really went anywhere. It got a lot harder to force 15 on Gamma with Wakanda, and then I feel like the Okoye changes hurt her position in that team probably worse than her as a splash character.
Yeah,
and I mean that's like not that's nothing new there. It's been out for a while in the mix, but I don't know what really happened with that other than you can't really force 15 anymore.
I mean, even less now than you could before.
Right. And right, because now you don't have herbs either. They just when you get a bucket of dice thrown at you, right? So I feel like it used to be you wanted to have the last activation on Gamma so that you could make sure that they got off of it. But now it's almost like you want to have priority so that you can just knock somebody out. And if that's Gamma, then that's Gamma. Gamma's got a lot of points, so it's fast. There's been a lot of talk lately about how having a slower game gives you more opportunities to play with the characters that you brought, so you're getting more actions out of everyone. I've tended to take a slightly different tack where I like to get kind of very fast games over with very quickly. Not with every roster, but coming from Black Order, then learning how to play Asgard, like that was me trying to learn a very different play style. And so I went from Black Order, where I was trying to keep that game as slow as possible to just get as many actions out of my very limited set of characters in my roster, to playing Asgard, where with Asgard, I wanted to basically just score that game out as quickly as possible, leverage the leadership to keep my dudes alive just long enough, and then hopefully walk out of that game sometime in late turn 3, early turn 4, and be able to be done with it. So I think that a fast game versus a slow game has got to be one of your considerations when you're looking at Gamma itself. So if you want the game to be over pretty quickly, Gamma's not that bad of a choice, but it is going to be, you're just going to run up in the middle and throw a bunch of dice at each other most of the time. So you got to have pieces that can survive that.
Well, that brings up another question is like, what has the most impact on your crisis decision? Is it that fast game versus slow game, or is it like, am I a scenario team? Which I think you should be. If you're playing competitive, I strongly think that like you should be building scenario lists. Like having impact on scenario is almost more important than having impact on kill. That's hot take. Hot take. I highly agree. I highly think that like even like again like come back to the Malekith list. Malekith list was extremely designed in the aspect of like Malekith kills things. Malekith is really good at killing things. But I strongly think that a Malekith list is stronger when it's a scenario team. Like, there's a lot of times where I played Malekith like it was a Web Warriors team, and it performed better that way than trying to just go all-out kill, especially into something like Sam, where his leadership directly impacts your ability to kill things.
I think that's another interesting thing. So one of the things that I just mentioned was that, if we're talking about having a slower game to have more actions and activations out of your own people, that's a very real kind of conundrum that can throw you off your game. If you're trying to play a fast game and you get forced into a situation where you have to play a slower game, like that can really be a game changer.
We just go all neutral with everything. Every game riots. Let's go.
Right. So like, all right. So if everything's neutral, right? What is neutral, right? Are the RNGs what's neutral? Is it like 2 RNGs?
I don't know.
Jesse, and then like 2 beta flips and something else.
That's the thing though. Is it's like, is it really neutral? Because you can leverage it in different ways. Like we've talked about the last month and a half to 2 months. Is there's different ways to leverage these scenarios into your favor. Like Kingpin on pay to flips is extremely weighted in one way. X-Men on pay to flips is weighted in very much one way, if only for the fact that they have extra agency round 1 like Asgard does. But like you look at a team like X-Force is a great example for this. What the hell does X-Force play? Because they're not amazing at pay to flips, they're not amazing at standing there, so it's like, what do they play? What do they want to bring? And I think that's really more of a meta call, where it's like, what do you see more of in your meta? Do you see more people that want to play like Kingpin, or people that want to play like Asgard and X-Men? If you have one, then you take the other. I think that's kind of the nicer thing about something like X-Force or Midnight Suns, or these not so polarizing teams that are like weighted one way or the other, is they have that option to be that counter meta pick. I think this is something that Sam, Captain America, Sam Finger Guns, does extremely well, and I think that's why I try
for what it's worth.
Well, I think
I definitely prefer to counter meta than I do to meta.
But I think that's why you see so much success with like Sam Wilson teams. He's not like so polarizing one way or the other. So you just bring whatever is good into the meta currently, and Sam can play that extremely well, because you have so much access to great characters for affiliations, and you can splash whatever the hell you want. That's great for the meta. I think that's actually the true reason why we see like Sam doing so good things between the TTS leagues, Nova, NashCon last year. Like Sam is probably like the ultimate anti-meta pick because of these aspects. Like he's not polarized one way or the other, and he can literally bring all the tools.
What is stronger, the Avengers like depth chart or Sam Wilson's leadership?
Yes. I mean, but like in all seriousness, how can you divide that? You can't really divide that because
Not
you
really.
get both. Like
No.
Avengers have amazing characters. They have like literally every single tool in the game across the whole entire roster of characters. And Sam Wilson's leadership is probably one of the best in the game because of the fact that it is literally agency on whatever you want. It could be agency towards attrition. It could be agency towards scenario. It could be agency towards whatever you need at that moment, which I think is the cool thing about Sam's leadership is you're able to do that. I don't know how this turned into a podcast about Sam, but
Sam Wilson is so ridiculously good, and he's so ridiculously fun. So I don't have a ton of reps with Sam, but I played that Disney Plus roster for a week and a half.
Yeah.
And I walked away from it being like, you know what? I don't feel like I can actually like play this and call it casual, even though it's like far from being an quote unquote optimized Sam roster.
Well,
because
that's the thing about
the
Sam. You
Wilson
throw
leadership is
anything
so
you
darn
want.
good.
Yeah, you throw anything
Yeah.
you want in a Sam list, and it's gonna work.
Bucky, Sam, and Zemo, right? Like the core of the roster I was playing was literally like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like the roster, and then like whatever else I could fit for points from there. And it's so fun. A range 4 long moving charge? Come on. Like, that's so insane. I don't care if it's 4 dice. The push, the leadership trigger being like a power, losing a status and a small move, like, and heal it. Like, it's like, what? All of that? Like, I never want to bring Terrigen Mists ever again.
Yeah. But I mean, like that's like comes back to like the whole point of that is like, if I was like min maxing to the max, I honestly, and like I get a lot of this from probably Sploosh and Mike DeLuca talking. Excuse me. But I mean, like they're obviously onto something there because like Sploosh took Sam to NashCon and he did extremely well with it. He went basically 9-0 because he played 6-0 the first day and then 3 more games the next day, undefeated, even into Malekith. So it's kind of like people talk about Malekith being the boogeyman. Like, what about Sam? What about Sam?
Yeah, we don't talk about Sam though because we love Sam Wilson. Right?
Well, he's fair and balanced.
He's a fun
as
character.
As Merzane would say, it's good Christian MCP.
That's right. It's so good. I mean, I'm glad there's no field dressing anymore.
Yeah,
but like I don't like. I feel like similar to the critical Cloak of Shadows errata, right? Where it's like, hey, you can't actually do that anymore. I feel like that's the extent of what the field dressing rotation did for Sam Wilson leadership, right? Like it's like, oh, well, it really like it just kind of lops off like the extra top end, but for the most part, it's still just so ridiculously amazing.
I know we're completely off topic here though, but it's like, like what about Sam is making it to where this is the case? Like, he's a really good character. He's a 3 threat. So like again, like this brings into that whole dichotomy of I can build like basically a roster for every single scenario crisis I come across. So it's like typically you look at 3 threats and they're like, oh, I can play any scenario and be okay because I'm going to be able to use my flex pieces to make my scenario game good at this. Yeah. So Sam has that. He has his leadership, which is amazing. He has Avengers Assemble and other great tactics cards that are available to them. And then on top of that, he has an excellent roster that's available to him. So you have this like really interesting like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but you have this interesting I can't think of the word.
Toolbox?
I guess they're probably one of the best tools. All right, so Sam Wilson is the Snap-on of toolboxes. And then we look at X-Force, and X-Force is like that great value toolbox that you get for your vehicle when you're like a kid in high school. I think that's a actually really good comparison. Like you paid a bunch of money, you got the best tools that are never going to break on you with the lifetime warranty, and like they're always going to work. The tools in your toolbox are always going to work. And then you go to the great value, and you have, well,
you're stripping your wrenches out on your bolts.
I left this toolbox in the garage. I haven't used it in about 6 months. And somehow it's rusted, even though no rain touched it, and I can't use my pieces on this because it's. Brutal. But tell me I'm wrong. Like tell me I'm wrong.
You're not. Like X-Force is the master airbrush of of affiliations.
And, but I hate to talk down about X-Force. I don't really think I'm talking down. Like if we talk competitively, X-Force is actually in an extremely rough spot right now. Like I'm crying. Give me Bishop, please. Bishop and Psylocke and all those pieces, please. Anyways,
I'm sure fun times will come. I
do. I agree. I agree.
I think that one of the things that the X-Force leadership reminds me of is just like
it's old MCP.
It is. He was tested during the same period that Drop Off was legal. Yeah. Right. Drop Off was legal in every way. It wasn't banned. It wasn't rotated. It was just like there.
They literally said we had to ban Drop Off because a cable broke it. Yep. If cable broke Drop Off, I don't want to know who else broke Drop Off. But it's amazing. Like this is the thing about AMG that's so amazing is they see this and then they like, okay, well this also impacts our design, like our design philosophy for the game going forward. And banning something like Drop Off opens up so much design space for characters. And that's the good thing about MCP or AMG is they realized this super early on and they altered it as like the first time they introduced the banned and restricted list. So it opened up so much design space so early in the game by getting rid of that card. So I think something that look side tangent number 155. I think the cool thing that you need to notice about AMG, everybody, is when they make a decision to ban, restrict, anything like that, make erratas or anything like that, like they're looking at the game probably in a year in advance. Like there is something that they see, and when they ban or restrict something, it's probably because something that's impacting the meta that we haven't even seen or heard of yet. Like a lot of times that's the case. I don't know what to say about Follow Me. I think Follow Me was just a missed, not really like thought of as people that's going to take this card 100% of the time. Overlooked step, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, nobody's perfect.
No, exactly. And that's the thing.
And it was what, a month? You know, like
not even
2 months. Yeah,
yeah.
Like it was unrestricted for what, 2 months, and like it was a month of people realizing that like it was unrestricted before it got restricted. So like, no, that's fine. I'm fine with where Follow Me landed.
Absolutely.
For now.
But back to Sam.
Yeah, not me.
Wilson. I don't know. I find it super interesting that like Malekith gets all this hate, but you literally have like this super meta monster that is anti-meta to everything, right? Like tell me.
So I think it's because he fell out of favor, right? People got quote unquote bored of playing with Sam.
Yeah, it's the same thing happened with Wakanda. Like back when Wakanda Wave days, people got bored playing Wakanda, so they branched out and started playing other stuff.
And I think that Sam's in a similar spot. And Sam did get a lot of hate, and he got the same. Like he drew the same kind of disdain for people who were playing him as well that Malekith has.
I completely agree with that. Yes.
Yeah, like there was like a whole period like that TTS season 7, 6, 7, one of those
like,
seasons where
it was like 6 Sam Wilsons in the finals.
Yeah,
or some shit like
and
that.
then like the top 4 was all Sam, and it was like, hey everybody, talk about your Sam Wilson list.
Yeah,
and he's really good, but again, like there's nothing wrong with playing good stuff.
Well, there's nothing wrong with. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like there's nothing wrong with playing with great value. Go play X-Force if you want to play X-Force. And it's like we talked about earlier in this episode. dice variance is so crazy in this game that you could go and win a tournament with X-Force. You really can.
You can. I ran away from a match. I ran away from a one-on-one versus Cable the other night just because I was afraid of that variance. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to get gunned down at range 5 and just lose my leader like this. So I'm gonna dip and try something else instead. It didn't work, but at the end of the day, like variance in this game is something that just like occasionally I just get like super scared of. It's like, what happens when he just rolls like 5 hits into me twice in a row and I defend like 1 or 2 in days on the second one? Now I've got a fully powered up Cable for the rest of the game.
And that's scary. Like that's truly scary. Like
He's
Cable
boot scoot and boogie into me, and then like Ascani-san my whole team.
If you can have it's Ascani-san.
Sorry.
If Cable Ascani-san, because he's the son of Ascani. He is a son of Ascani. Anyways,
you were saying
it kind of brings up the question, and I think it's a very interesting. I don't even know what to call this episode now because like Rogue Agents Ramble 101. I'm gonna take one out of Devin's book and call this Be Your Bet Self.
There we go.
I've been wanting to use it for a while. It's actually really cool. Anyways, as I was saying, come on, brain, come back to me. Can MCP actually be considered a competitive game because of the variance? I think AMG, I'm paraphrasing 100%. I'm not direct quoting anybody. Sure. I want to preface that. I'm pretty sure that they have said something on the lines of that, like MCP is not designed in a competitive aspect. It's designed to be a hobby game that's fun to play. So, like, do you think because of this design philosophy that is 100% paraphrased? I'm not trying to like pin this on AMG. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be like. I just want to make sure the listeners understand like where I'm coming at with this. Like, do you think that MCP can be a competitive game in that aspect, in those regards? Like, I know we make it a competitive game.
Yeah.
But are we wrong? Are we wrong for trying to turn this into a competitive game?
I have 2 answers to that question.
Okay.
So one of them is from a conversation I had with Ron Mithrander about a year ago now, where he basically said, like, I feel like they give us like 2 busted characters at a time, and they're just like, all right, you sweaty tryhards, like, have fun with these 2 until it breaks, basically. And then they'll step in and fix it at that point, or something else comes in that chases one of those guys out. Yeah. But it was said in a tongue-in-cheek way, but it wasn't that far off base in my opinion. And the other thing I would say about this game is, I think that even if the game itself isn't competitive, there are players who are treating it that way.
Yes.
And I think that if you look at things like the TTS season top cuts, and you look at the top cuts at larger events, you will see a lot of the same names.
Yeah.
And that's just like, there's a lot of dice variance in this game, but there are people who are playing this game to
competitive
right.
level. And I think like photo. I want to shout out Photocopier here in the Twitch chat. Says, given the fact that we see the same 10 to 15 people regularly making cuts at events and in TTS League, I think the variance can obviously be overcame. But like, I agree with this. I do 100% agree, and I do think that this can be a competitive game, and it's among us as players to take that mindset, like Sam's talking about here, is you have to have that mindset and be able to basically look at the game in a different aspect of how to overcome that variance. I think, because we talked about this a couple of episodes ago, you're talking about the line of casual versus competitive, right? And that line is like so fine, yet so broad at the same time. Like the difference between a highly competitive player and a casual player is massive, because a competitive player looks at a character in completely different light than a casual player does. A casual player is going to look at, let's say, first character to come to mind, who's on the table? Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster's on the table over here, right? And a casual player can look at Hulkbuster and say, wow, that's super cool. Such an amazing model. That sculpt is super dope. I love the fact that I can turn into Tiny Tony, and I love the fact that this character has Hulkbuster and he's got Meteor Punch as a, oh man, I can use Meteor Punch so many times in a game. All these cool things. And then you have the highly sweaty competitive person like, wow, that builder has an auto push. Like,
Ooh,
and
but he's only got 13 health.
Yeah, like, but like that's the thing though, is like it's a completely different conversation when you listen to all these hot takes off of different podcasts and content creators, and they're like subjective views, 100% subjective views between our takes on certain things. Danger Room, Strikes Better, all of these different podcasts that talk about all these different things and hot takes. It's just 100% subjective, and they should be taken as such. If you disagree with a take, that's completely fine because you may look at it a different light, because that is the aspect of competitive that I think MCP has, is how you look at that character and how it fits your personal play style. I love Hulkbuster because of XYZ. Well, I don't like Hulkbuster because he only has 13 health and he dies rather easily. I'd rather play Hulk because he has 20 health and he can do basically the same thing. But that's the conversation that happens upon like competitive mindset people, is they go down these different rabbit holes. And I think that's 100% why we keep saying, like, don't listen to content creators because we don't know what the hell we're talking about. But mostly because of the fact that 100% of everything we say as content creators, whoever it is going to be completely subjective. And I think that's one of the coolest things about MCP is we have so many different content creators. Is you get like, we have, let's count it out. I have Taco.
A lot.
I mean, but like, I think it's a good example. So I have Taco Truck, I have Danger Room, Rogue Agents, Strike Better, Infamous, House Party Protocol, Fury's Finest, Gamers Guild, Rich Mid Gaming,
Omnis.
God, I can't believe I forgot about him. I'm sorry, Omnis. Dune Prophecy now for Jaden. Big shout out to him.
Yeah.
Oh man, what do we say? Where are we at?
There's more.
There's a shit
like
ton
3 that came up like last week. You know what I mean?
There's always new content creators, and the biggest thing to look at is each one of these different content creators is going to have a different opinion. I said Gamers Guild. I said that one.
You did okay. Good.
I did remember them. I just forgot on this. I'm sorry on this. I love you. But like that's the biggest thing to look at is you have all these different opinions, and that's why like if you're gonna take one podcaster or content creator's subjective opinion,
take Morgan's. Sorry. I only say that because he literally plays like more games than like basically anyone else on planet.
I had a bright burning flame of momentum, and then you just went. But that's the whole point I want to get at though, is like if you're gonna listen to one, like listen to multiple. If you have the time, like listen to multiple content creators to get that subjective opinion, to be able to find the one that suits your play style. Because I play different from Sam, who plays different than Sploosh, who plays different than DeLuca, who plays different than Chewy, who plays different from Jacob, who plays different from Vince, who plays different from Nate. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Who plays different from Omnis. I didn't forget about you this time. But that's the whole thing I'm getting at, is like when it comes to content creation, it is 100% subjective. Especially with a game like this with so much variance in the game, it's all about what your play style is, how that matches the game, and how you're going to get around that variance, like Photocopier and Sam, Finger Gun Sam, said in the episode earlier. I don't know. I'm kind of just like on a roll right now. I'm so sorry. I'm just rambling at this point. Anyways, I hope there was something gained from this last, like, I don't know, 20 minutes of me just going on.
No, it's good. I mean, if we're going to just, kind of cycle this back to, I don't have a timestamp for this one. So sorry, everybody. This is going to be lumped in under the Sam Wilson and AMG versus Busted Stuff timestamp.
Man, I just stubbed my toe.
Oh, no. It just got so real.
I went to like reposition myself in my chair, and my foot slid on the carpet and smacked right into my desk.
I agree with you 100%, and that these are all our subjective takes. Like literally no one has enough sample size to have an objective opinion about this game. But I would say that to a large extent, if you are looking at a competitive event or competitive environment, you have to be considering Sam Wilson Avengers, both as something that you should maybe be bringing, or at the very least, understand what Sam is going to be bringing to the table and try to counterpick the counterpick. Because the thing that Sam is doing better than anything else is that his leadership is counterpicking against any sort of attrition forward roster. And then the crisis combination that he's able to bring and the tools he's able to bring on those crises are shutting down some of the hardest things to get around in the game, like Kingpin, where he can bring all flips and feel perfectly comfortable with that. He can bring all RNG extracts, single extracts, and be perfectly comfortable with that. And now the onus is on you to take that off of Sam or the character that's holding it, which is going to make the rest of the board state change. And now you've got an entirely different field that you're going into, trying to just play MCP. So you got to have an answer for Sam. And if you can't find an answer for it, then consider playing it if that's the kind of game that you want to play. If it's not about fluff and characters or proving a point or this or that, if you just want to go win an event, well, there's going to be a lot of Avengers there. So either be ready for it or be one of them.
I think I want to hit what Photocopier said here in the chat too. He says, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to politically correct, I guess. Anyways, Photocopier says the variance also introduces a cool mechanic where casual players can also just have their dice go off and beat a really good player, which I think can be good for the game and create excitement, which I 100% agree. And that like kind of creates, he also says I think that also just kind of creates this whole entire aspect of like going back to what I was rambling on for about 20 minutes is like don't bank all your eggs in one basket and just listen to a content creator. Like it's all subjective and you can't count on 100% one thing being 100% accurate. Like
we need to pull the soundbite of Hyper Viper saying like don't listen to content creators and just like be able to just put that in on the soundbar.
But it's so true though. Like I think content creation is good. It's good for the community. It's good for people who are trying to do different things. Man, brain. But it's like it comes down to like your personal play style and what suits you. I want to play X-Force. So what the hell am I gonna do? Well, everybody's talking shit about X-Force. Except for that Rogue Agents podcast. But it's like, but you know what I'm saying? It's like we have to take in all content creation or find the one that suits your play style. Find the one that suits the way that you want to talk about and the way that you want to listen and intake this game. There's so many out there that you have a wonderful opportunity. But I think at this time, we should move on and finish out this episode. Sam, you have sales pitch of the week. Who do you want to talk about?
Well, I played one game with Killmonger last night, and he knocked the socks off of everything I wanted to do with him. So I'm going to be the sales pitch for Eric Killmonger. First of his name, Lord of the First Men, and Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I had a hoot of a game with Killmonger. He has done like absolutely nothing for me in the past, so I have kind of disparaged him in a passing conversation. But I got to say that he's got an interesting attack typing with energy and physical. His counts shields instead of hits, can do some really interesting things on the table. I guess if you didn't want to do damage, you can kind of back out of the situation. If it was like, kill or bust, basically, you can decide to back out your damage and not do anything. And he has a charge, which is super good. And being able to attack the same target with extra dice should never be overlooked. So if he rolls 5 and then 7, that's a lot of damage output. And if you can get him in a position to go and put the smackdown on a couple of like a Black Widow and a Sin or something along those lines and grab himself a couple of kill counters, his dice get a lot more consistent. And he is not the strongest character on the table, but his output is very outsized. And it is really fun to bring Usurp the Throne in your 5, or at least in your 10, and throw Killmonger out there and just turn him into a guided missile that gets a little bit sidetracked while he tries to rack up a couple of kill counts before he goes and takes down the biggest thing on the board.
Into a killmonger.
That's right.
All right. Cool. All right. Hobby Corner, Accountability Club. Don't forget to goals should be due tomorrow, no later than. Let's try to stick to the 15th. You know, we've been
15th.
really lax on that. So get your goals in no later than when the episode comes out.
Tomorrow, if you're listening to this on release date, then get them in by tomorrow night at midnight, right? So 9/15/2022.
I need to get
goals in by midnight your time.
I've said my goal on the cast, but I need to actually submit mine. No more freebies for me, I guess.
Get them in there, get some pictures posted.
I'll say it again. I'm gonna be trying to do a monochrome blade because I'm Midnight Suns. I'm gonna be shooting for monochrome Midnight Suns. I'm really excited for the project, but I'm also very intimidated by it at the same time. It's like I was talking with Sam about it earlier. Like monochrome for a paint scheme is super cool when you can pull it off. But if you mess up, it's extremely obvious.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think I'm sure that Devin would be disappointed in you, but if you went and did kind of that slap chop method a little bit, where you just kind of bring it up from a black primer with mostly dry brushing, just to give it basically a gray and then a white. I was very impressed with how much detail that brought out when I did it on my Daredevil and Ninjas. Yeah, I just didn't do it light enough for the second part of the slap chop where you put.
What I really want to do is this whole values versus color theme that Devin really hits on. And again, we talked about last week, hopefully we're gonna be getting him on the cast at some point soon.
Let's hope.
So that'd be awesome to come in here and actually talk to you guys about this whole values versus color. And really using this time to paint Blade in the Midnight Suns in this scheme to really hone in that let me work on getting my values down as a painter. I'm really taking one from him as far as this is a goal that we should have as miniature painters is to work on our values. And I think this will really reinforce that learning point for me as a painter and carry me forward and improve myself as a painter overall, which is why I'm taking this as my accountability club goal is to do monochrome. So that is what's going on.
Nice. My goal this month is to have my October 1st roster fully based, fully painted and based. I think everything is basically painted for it, but I got some basing work that I need to do. And then to finish up the Shield releases, not counting Steve Cap, but I want to get my David Hasselhoff and my Human Torch done, and I want to get my Crimson Dynamo done too. So I got potentially a kind of big month for hobby goals. So we'll see if I can.
You got 16
get
days.
Out of my shame cycle.
Is September a 31-day month? No, it's only a 30-day month. Nope. You got 16 days. All right.
I can do it.
All right. Challenge of the week. We just had Strucker come out, so let's go ahead and see some Hydra rosters. Every character in the list must do at least one condition. That means that they must put it out with a wild or put it out with a superpower. But a Strucker Hydra list that every character in the list must be putting out at least one condition. Also, something that we're going to start doing with the challenge of the week. When you submit your challenge of the week, explain your thoughts behind the roster. Why does this make sense? Not just throw a roster together and throw it in there. We want this to be thought-provoking. We want it to be wow, I'd never really built a list this way. This is supposed to be breaking the mold, have a purpose to it, and expand our knowledge of building rosters and MCP games. So, when you submit a list, please make it make sense and explain your thoughts behind the roster. Yes.
Agreed.
And if it does not explain the thoughts behind the list, then we are not going to be selecting it as the challenge of the week winner. Damn, Daniel. All right. I know we're running along, but here we go. Listener questions. All right. So this one's kind of very in tune with today's episode. Sure thing. What affiliations are best equipped to play scenario focus in this heavy attrition world? Anything. 100% anything. You can make any list scenario based. I made a Malekith list scenario based when the world thinks that Malekith is an attrition piece and Malekith is an attrition list. You can literally make any list in this game scenario focused because of the fact that AMG has the rules that your squad is 51% affiliated or not. So you can throw whatever characters you want in there. You can literally make any list a scenario focused list. Hell, you can make X-Force in a scenario focused list. Your turn.
I like that take. I would be looking at everything that Dyzard just said, but also trying to build my roster towards the scenarios that I'm bringing.
Yeah.
And I would be looking at more defensive affiliations like Shield or Miles Morales Web Warriors, ASM, I guess, to a certain extent, if you can learn how to leverage that slow effect. Basically, X-Men Gold. Like, look at things that you can leverage a defensive ability to keep your people a little bit more survivable. You probably want to bring a somewhat heavy attrition piece yourself to the table for certain matchups, or at least in the roster. And then just making sure that the rest of the pieces that you're bringing are really well suited to tackle the crises that you've decided to bring, and have a plan for the ones that you don't.
Absolutely.
So I agree. It's largely everybody, but I mean, I'd be looking more at defensive than, like something like Guardians.
Well, I mean, like when it comes down to defensive, though, like there's like, because of tactics cards nowadays.
Wait, I think I actually know the answer to this question. Sam Wilson Avengers.
There you go. Oh, I lost you. Where'd you go? There you go. Okay.
Oh no.
I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. Anyways, I think though, because like how tactics cards are nowadays, that you can really build up your defensiveness from your tactics cards.
Yeah.
So that is also a option. But yeah, honestly, anything can be scenario focused. You have the options as a player to bring whatever you want. All right.
Yeah.
Copper. Hey, Copper. All right. In reference to last week's episode, what unexpected MCP character would Pete Davidson date?
She-Hulk. 100% She-Hulk.
Oh man. All right, I'm gonna accept that, and I'm not even gonna try to beat up that. Followed
by Angela, followed by Angela like a month later, and then probably Wanda like 2 months after that. But...
Are you sure it's be that slow of a time frame? It'd probably be weeks. Best part was like after last week's episode, like the person I was talking about earlier, he sent me a message saying he was dying laughing at the whole Pete Davidson conversation. Oh man. All right, follow-up trivia question from Copper. What's the Pete Davidson connection to an MCU actress? These questions are because of the guy's intro convo, which includes some Pete references this week. So Pete Davidson connection to MCU actress.
Help us out.
I feel like trivia question. I'm gonna go Scarlett Johansson.
So I guess if there's a Scarlett Johansson connection, then it's through Colin Jost, who I think is married to her, and they're both on Saturday Night Live.
He's in the chat. Where's the answer? Come on, buddy. Where's it at?
Dying on the vine here. Dying on the vine.
Yep. Oh, we win! All right, what do we win?
His attendance tonight.
All right. And both from Long Island. All right, man, we're good there.
Oh, nice.
All right, cool. All right, Fearless. With the direction of the meta shifting more towards attrition and the loss of many of the TTC tactics cards, that allowed for a consistent control style of play, do control players need to add attrition elements to their list? I think that's the coolest thing. Again, back to like the first question. That's one of the coolest things about MCP is you could tailor your list in a way that is very much focused on I can bring an answer to everything. It's just how much time can you spend on building that list? I spent a month and a half on the Malekith list until I had it locked in. And then I had like 2 weeks to like really test that list to where I'm like, okay, this is min-max to my playstyle the most. So it really just comes down to how much time can you afford to like really spend towards this list. And I wasn't really happy with the Malekith list until I was at probably, it was like 80 something reps with the list over time. So like 80 something repetitions with a list is where I was like, okay, this is min-maxed to the most. with like my personal play style. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is how much time can you commit to a list in order to like actually figure out how many attrition pieces you need. Otherwise, it's really just a crapshoot. Like I'm not going to be completely blunt here. Like it really is a crapshoot. It's going to be like, okay, well, I think I need this, this, and this. I'm just going to throw this at the wall and see what happens. And that's kind of what you have to go with if you're like going like, okay, I'm going to play Midnight Suns. I'm going to go ahead, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with this roster. And then I'm going to test it, see how it works, and then I'm going to go from there. And I see it within this Midnight Suns dojo chat. Like, Joey, he's like been hitting this list super hard. He's like, hey, Iron Fist is kind of a dud for me. I'm going to swap him out for Black Hat only so I can have more room for flex slots. This is kind of like the process that you go through. So when you say, do control players need to add attrition elements to their list? It really just comes down to like how many reps you can afford to get in your list to see how that affects you. If it affects your playstyle more. If you're a control player, then fuck it. Like, go ahead and put in like almost all your characters have a control piece. My Malekith list had 7 out of 10 characters were displacement oriented, and that was the goal with it. That's what I kind of ended up on with what was like for me the perfect Malekith list. So it comes down to like how the list fits you, how it fits your playstyle, and how you want to play that list. So there really isn't like a 100% yes answer to this because of that aspect of what you can bring with lists and who you are as a player and what you want. I'm sorry, this probably doesn't answer your question, but I hope it offers insight to like what you need to be looking for.
I would say control is dead, long live scenario. I think that control kind of... So number one, I'm not sure if control ever actually existed, right? Because I think that the best control deck or roster for a long time was Wakanda.
Yeah.
And Wakanda still did a lot of damage to you. I think that Black Order was another one, but that was more like a damage first, control second kind of a roster. But again, like you were doing a lot of damage before you kind of transitioned to a control game. I think that the Web Warriors, even Web Warriors, which I consider to be like almost like the most pure control roster out there right now, still has that all webbed upturn where they're going to leverage a bunch of damage onto you and capture a couple of key dazes to hopefully either close it out or put the game away or save their own butts. So I think that this has kind of always been there, and I think that if you've got a roster spot that you're not sure what to do with, throw a Hulk in there and see what happens, because Hulk is another one where he's got tremendous output, but he's also got his control elements are tremendous, right? He's got the throw, he's got the wild push, he's got a wild throw, and I would look at a Hulk or even a Hulkbuster or even a She-Hulk and just see what you can do with those guys and see what happens when you put something like that in your roster. Or if you want to be a degenerate, just throw Malekith in there and accept the hate and drink the tears.
Drink all the tears. To add on to that is it's like, what type of control are you talking about? Because attrition could absolutely be an aspect of control. Like,
it is.
Like if you look at, like you mentioned that even, but I kind of blanked out. I got distracted.
It's true, though.
I got distracted. But like when you look at like an attrition list, like Malekith Cabal, there's a lot of people like Peyton and Mando who built a very attrition focused Cabal, and their control was built in by attrition because they're killing so many pieces between Medusa and other pieces going on that they're able to get that control going. So that's something you want to look at as well. All right, it's just Rory with a newfound gusto for painting. What model that you've already painted are you looking at thinking you need to get another and go try again? 100% Malekith, because I think Malekith is like the pinnacle of painting challenges when it comes to MCP.
Your Mal is gorgeous.
A certain somebody changed my mind of that.
Nah, fair enough. Well, he's too good a painter anyway, so
that's fair. But in all honesty, I do think Malekith is probably like the pinnacle of like painting challenge when it comes to MCP, because you have to do it in a way that the tiger looks super cool and Malekith isn't lost in the background like mine is, according to somebody who I respect their opinion.
That's fair.
So it's like I would actually like really, I'm actually probably at some point after going through this whole process of understanding values versus color, and looking at Malekith again and trying to paint him under a new light and a new understanding and concept of miniature painting. And I think that is a very good test for it, because you really need to understand your values to make the tiger look amazing and make Malekith not just disappear in the background.
I don't have a good answer to this question until I paint something that looks like nightmarishly better than the things that I've painted before. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I really got to repaint that.
All right.
There's a much better chance that I break a model and have to repaint it.
Also real talk though. I think Rory just like he says something here that's like, he said, get another and try again. I think that's a very important thing. If you're looking at like the hobby aspect and like painting and miniature painting in general, I'm a firm believer of not really painting over your paint job. Don't like strip it and repaint it, because I personally like seeing the growth. When I look at the models from like the core set to what I'm painting now, like you can see a difference. Like shit, you look at my Black Widow versus my Malekith.
Sure.
Like it's like a world of difference in just like the texture of the paint, like how it went on, the face, like everything. Like, and when I was painting Black Widow, I was coming off of Guild Ball, right? And I was like, wow, I feel really good about my paint jobs now. And now I look at Black Widow and I'm like, wow, I have come a long way in my paint.
I remember when I was painting up some dewbacks for Legion, and I went back and I grabbed one of my old Imperial Assault dewback riders, and I was like, man, I feel like I did this really good. I got to go grab that dewback rider from Imperial Assault and see what it looks like. And I picked it up and I was just like, nope, that looks so much better in my memory.
Okay, so I don't have the model, and my dad might, and I might see if he could find it for me and get a picture of it, of like my first miniature that I ever painted. I'm sure he still has it, because he's a very sentimental person as much as I am. And it was an orc. It was a Reaper orc, and like I remember, I could see it vividly in my eyes when I closed my eyes. Like
solid. The
green is just like splotchy and like dark green, and there's no tone to it at all. And like the gold, he had a bright gold shoulder pad, and he was carrying an axe. Like basically imagine like Scourge for MCP, but an orc with this big bright shoulder pad and such a terrible paint job. But I'll have to see if my dad still has it somewhere, and if he can send me a picture of it. I'm sure he does, because he had this big old... Yeah,
it's got to be Punisher. Sorry, I just had that realization. It's got to be Punisher.
I mean, you want to repaint Punisher just as is. No. Okay, so like your Punisher,
I need a new model.
Your Punisher,
I refuse to get rid of him.
Your Punisher, have you seen like you've seen like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right?
Yeah.
Your Punisher is literally when the bad guy gets melted at the end of the movie.
My Punisher looks like Jigsaw. Like he's just
like the face is there. All right. Matt Erb, or Draz, X-Force brethren, who's also in the Midnight Suns posse now. How would you sum up the big changes to the way the game is being played between season 7 and season 8? Was all you got still in season 7, or was that gone by then? Honestly, like seasons,
field dressing was still legal, I think.
Seasons really seasons really kind of like blend together for me, to be completely honest. Like seasons 1 through 3 are all one season in my mind. And then 4 and 5 are one season, and 6 and 7 are one season, and then the current season is already gone, in my opinion.
It is.
Like it's like, as like the person, like both of us actually, as like the people like running the event for the seasons, it's very much like we're already into the planning stages for the next season and trying to figure out what we need to do. Our mind isn't really like on the current meta anymore.
No, I mean once the cut starts, like unless I'm in the cut, like for me, it's just like I'm looking at the next season. Like it's so much easier to manage 32 players than it is to manage 300. So I mean that's
which is why I stepped down.
So I think that between 7 and 8, what we saw was a refinement of the cheap core supporting very strong, tall models.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen a refinement of that. And I also think that we have seen its, I don't know, counterbalance, for lack of a better term, basically either completely disappear or completely change shape. Because it was the space reality Thanos plus Magneto and Juggernaut. And like that roster into Malekith is just sad times all day, because Magneto can't do Magneto things. Juggernaut dies surprisingly easily to Malekith, and Thanos does not enjoy having Juggernaut thrown into him without access to brace or patch up. So I think that's that's kind of what the biggest difference is between season 7 and season 8. And I'm curious to see where it goes next.
I also think it's a difference in crises.
Crises,
like, and then like this, every single season you see a more understanding of the game and different tactics cards coming out.
Yeah.
So you see that as well between each season, and like wonkier things where you're like, what the hell is this person doing? And then it's like, oh, that's cool. Oh my god. So it really just comes down to like every single season's a deeper understanding of the game. And I also think the skill gap decreases between every single season of the game.
Okay,
Like if we look back at like season 1, 2, 3, like it was like you expect this player, and this player to make the cuts. Then you look at season 4, 5, and 6, it's like, okay, well, we're seeing a lot of like different names popping in now. And then you look at like 7 and 8, and it's like, oh, who's this guy? Like I've never even heard of this name before. This person made cuts. What's going on here? So it's like the skill gap is very drastically decreasing. That's probably one of the biggest changes between like season 7 and 8 is like you see a lot more different names in the cuts. You see different things going on. Sure, you're gonna see like the average, like you're gonna see Morgan, you're gonna see other things, but like let's look at like not to like say they played bad at all. It's just things didn't work out in their favor. Like Sploosh and DeLuca, they didn't make cuts this season. I didn't make cuts this season. Sam didn't make cuts this season. Like,
nope.
Like the skill gap is drastically decreasing between like the top players. I personally still don't think of myself as a top player. Let's be frank.
I think everybody's bad. So
yeah. So it's kind of like but like I respect DeLuca and Sploosh as like players in the game. They are definitely like top contenders.
They're some of the least bad of all of us.
But it comes down to like that skill gap is decreasing because of the content that people are putting out, and then people having a deeper understanding of the game, and then having that goal of I want to get it to cuts. And that's really like a big goal. We have Photocopy here in the chat saying, I make cuts in my first season this year. Listen to all you content creators. You can get good quick if you consume the content that's out there. And that's like exactly what I'm saying. Like people listening to more of the content. We have so many content creators, like we were talking about earlier, that
it's Cliff Notes.
Yeah, it really is. Like I go and I play 120 games of Malekith, so you don't have to.
Right. They tell everybody, hey, play Scenario Malekith. And then people are like, wow, I just got to skip 120 games of practice. That was literally going to take me a year.
Yeah. Because like you like that's like the coolest thing about content creators. Like we say like don't listen to content creators and like just like listen to them. But the thing is, I think the biggest thing about listening to content creators is like listen to more than just one content creator. You can have your favorite podcast, you can have your favorite YouTube video person, but like get the other side of the coin. Get like all angles that you possibly can on this. If every single content creator out there is saying like Malekith is good, Sam is good, then yeah, they're probably good.
Yeah.
But you might get a thing like I say XYZ is like really good in the current meta, and then Sam says, well, I think ABC is really good in the meta, but I could see your point. And then you listen to Danger Room, and Danger Room says, well, QRS is probably the best thing in the meta. Like you have all these different aspects, and that lets you build your own interpretation by listening to the different content creators and being able to build your own head meta of what's going on, and then developing what you want to play based off of that. Now, I understand not everybody has time to listen to absolutely everything. I don't know how I do it. I like to listen to everything just because I like to see what other people are saying. I'm a madman, I guess. I don't know where I find the time. Like, but somehow I listen to everything.
I try to run. I try to run, and I tend to listen to content.
No,
while I run.
you run because like literally at Nova every single morning I'd be outside getting my nicotine fix and I'd be walking in and I'd be like, you're dedicated to it because you literally go out and we're running morning to the convention after being up until like 3 in the morning.
Got to get the blood flowing. Got to get the brain working again.
Maybe that's what I missed. That's what I missed that second day. I go out and get my nicotine fix, and it restricts the blood flow. And you go and run. Copier in here says just get a job where you can listen to like 5 hours of content a day. Yeah, everybody go get your CDL and become a truck driver. You can listen to all the content you want. All right. I think with that, we have been the Rogue Agents. And you, as always, have been the Sam Wilsons. I totally forgot to hit the button. I just hit stop instead of like hitting this one. So people on Twitch stream are going to get this for the podcast.
In this war, there's no surrender.
He's out of line, but he's right. Who the hell is Bucky? You don't like a fair fight.
I think you're wrong. Which part? All of it.
Think you're the only superhero in the world?
Touche.
All right, guys. Copier, anybody else who's here still in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. And as always, having a good time.
Thanks. That was fun, guys.
Oh, yeah. Catch you later.